Good morning, everybody. This is a Roaming Prepper channel. Right now, doing a quick audio check. Somebody please let me know if you can hear me and if you can see me. I found that the Saturday lives that I do in the afternoon are actually preventing me from doing other things at times, and so you're going to see some of these sit reps that are going to pop up more like in the brunch hour. So thank you for joining me on a somewhat out of schedule Saturday sit rep. So hold on a second here. Make sure I'm squared away. They were working and now they sound weird. Nope. Everything looks on. Good deal. All right. Well, if you cannot hear me, please let me know. And yeah, we'll get right to it. Hey, Yardbirds, yes. This is live. And apparently I can't spell because I put at Yardbursts. Yeah, this is a live. Out of schedule live, but yeah, it is a live. But, well, folks, this last week has been really a lot of, you can hear me? Okay, great. Thank you, Joe. This has been a lot of interesting developments in the last, week and a half. So I'm going to play a little bit from, let me see if I can find Northern Girl's video, because I do want to share that one. She was part of the truck convoy, and I just thought that would be awesome. So let me see if I can share a screen here. So the Canadian, hey, Puddle of Souls, how are you? Hold on, I'm waiting for the symbolic ad to go away. And here we go. So the Ottawa truck convoy has been super successful, and certainly. Okay, hey Lucky, good morning.
Morning, Nanya.
Thanks for checking in. I know your work schedule is totally different now. But yeah, folks, the Canadian truck rally was so impressive that they are now doing truck rallies in New Zealand, Australia, Austria, Sweden, Switzerland, although Switzerland really is doing it on behalf of the French, and France. So these guys and girls have started a complete movement. I've not seen good video. Hold on a second, folks. Maybe having an audio failure here. Hang on, Joe.
Everyone, this is massive, massive. So we are all going to get staged up. And then
hold on just a second. All right, you guys should be able to hear me a little bit better now, and I'm not getting the feedback, which is good. Yeah, it's so I have some questions about your Puddle of Souls. You're spot on. I want to show that one. So now they're trying to confiscate the millions of dollars raised to support the truckers to the city of Ottawa for the general fund. So basically, two things are happening here. One, they're trying to defund the truckers, which is just stupid because it's not their money, because they're salty. Two, the truckers did a better job of raising revenue by accident for the city of Ottawa than the government of Ottawa is doing deliberately. Like, we should elect the truckers and fire the politicians. I don't know. Little Boots, I heard, and I can do a quick search for that one as well. I heard that it was going to the state. Trucker funds. Oh, here we go. Trucker funds frozen. Let's see. So this is Fox 5 in Vegas. I'll share that since you guys kind of brought it up. That's a very good question. Hold on, waiting for the symbolic advertisement. Oh, come on now. All right, so GoFund. Oh, hey now. All right, there it is. GoFundMe for Canadian trucker Freedom Convoy suspended after reaching 10.1 million. Apparently, they were able to get some of the money free. Probably so. I like the use of the emojis. So technically, you put chicken lollipop. I like that. Um, but but everyone knows what that means. Toronto, GoFundMe has suspended a fundraiser for the Freedom Convoy for truckers and supporters who've tied up Ottawa while protesting mandates. Fundraiser, which is now under review, has currently raised $10 million. It's the second time GoFundMe has suspended access to the money. Oh, I didn't realize they suspended it twice. Funds were frozen in mid-January when the funds were at 4.5. At the time, GoFundMe stated they needed more detail on how the funds would be allocated. Okay, that I could see is fair, that it wasn't fraud, right? Because you have a lot of people saying, "Oh, my mom's dying," and then they walk off with $100,000. By Tuesday, it reached 9.5. The fundraiser been declared the second largest in Canada, smaller only than the fundraiser created for the Humboldt Broncos in 2018. So the truckers have raised money better than the government. Freedom Convoy 22 fundraiser states in description will go toward paying Ottawa truckers' journey, food, fuel, shelter, with leftover funds being given to a credible veterans organization which will be chosen by the donors. So they're going to have a vote, I guess, on where the remaining funds would go, and then that would go to a Canadian veterans funding. Earlier on Wednesday, City Council and Chair Police Services Diane Dean suggested that Ottawa Mayor Jim Watson and Prime Minister Sparkle Socks get in touch with GoFundMe to convince them to block the access. Where they're funding these mercenaries, and that funding stream needs to be cut off. Really? Hey, Klingon. There it is, Puddle. They're funding these mercenaries. So basically, now if you protest the whatever their dialogue is, you protest whatever the ongoing statement is, the command, the mandate, you are now a terrorist. You are now an extremist. This is Stalinistic. Actually, it's Marxism, folks. We are watching Marxism unfold real time, or trying to unfold real time, but what they're not counting on is this stuff. So it sounds like they're waiting for the big guy to get his cut. Hey, Tactical Homestead, how are you? No, technically mercenary is not a bad word, but the way they're trying to spin it is these mercenaries, the hired guns have come to disrupt our good city. Now, to be fair, I feel bad for the folks who actually live and commute in Ottawa because they're all screwed up now, but there's a bigger picture here, and I kind of get both. But yeah. What, the mandate uh or the mercenaries? Well, it wouldn't be the first time governments have created their own fringe groups. The knuckleheads who run around with Che Guevara's shirt, aside from murdering and massacring families and children all over South America before the various government ran him to Africa, and then they went after him there and killed him. Um, no, funding of terrorism is not. Those evil patriots, basically. Hey, good morning, Tennessee Tactical. You snuck in on me there. So, yeah, I just wanted to share that right now they've got truck convoys. Let me see if I can find it. So, actually, the French, and I can't find it now. So the French, they couldn't get the trucks in, like the trucks got restricted. So yeah, so I understand GoFundMe's approach that they're like, okay, what are you doing with this $5 million? Because GoFundMe is the venue, right? So you want to make sure it's legitimate. I guess what I'm focused more on is the way that the government is portraying the truckers, not, oh, well, money may be diverted to Al Qaeda or something like that. I get that concern, right? You never know, right? You got $10 million and ooh, 500,000 just went away to McMuffin over here so he can go kill someone. Um, but oh, here we go. Trying to call our terrorists. Yeah. Yeah, and Puddle, it's really hard to convey a conversation in the chat as it's going by. So I understand everyone's trying to say, but you're restricted to so many letters, and it's really hard to convey stuff. And speaking of money, okay, now I saw this earlier, and you guys know I love to look at like Bloomberg and the stock market because I feel those are very interesting canaries in the cave, I guess you could say, for other things to go on, right? Because we can look at Ukraine and other stuff, but when remember big corporations, the Fortune 500s, and I mean I work for one, they have think tanks within the company that they're like, okay, analyze the geopolitics. Do we want to move business into this country, right? And it's a business thing. Do we want to put people there? Do we want to put expats if they don't like expats? Trudeau is Castro's offspring. Where's his beard? He cannot be Castro's offspring. Castro at least had an epic beard and liked cigars. I respect the man for that. Um, and actually, Castro got the crap beaten out of him by the government before he took over, and which is why he wound up overthrowing it. So, not that I justify his communism approach and killing people, but at least you can look at the guy and say, okay, well, you earned you were out there and you got your butt kicked a couple of times. Sparkle Socks didn't uh, put pictures side by side. It's creepy. Okay, see now, I'm gonna have to do that. What I'll do, Puddle, I'm gonna write that down. And you could see the engineer coming out into me, right? I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna post it on my community page. I'm gonna put them side by side and watch me get a flag for that one. But anyway, following the money, they're saying the militia is a terror organization. Well, you see, tactical in a case like that, that sets the groundwork for 2A being a terrorist supporting law. I'm not saying it right, but you see where I'm going with it. I have to be careful how I enunciate it. Um, he's not even good at that, Tennessee. Like, Chavez took over the country, and granted, he screwed up Venezuela, but um, to be fair, Chavez wouldn't have fled, right? Of course, he put tanks in the street and ran students over, which was terrible. Trudeau ran away. Like, he's like, peace out, I have Rona. And he was gone and left like the mayor of Ottawa to deal with this debacle that he created. And they should fire Trudeau and put the mayor of Ottawa. At least the mayor was able to control the traffic, for crying out loud. But here's something weird, because I'm not one to do conspiracies, guys. I love my theoretical conspiracies, but um, so 4 days ago, so this was February 1st. Saki, I'm the video is not useful. I don't know why, but the White House is trying to prepare Americans for a distorted job report. So they were for days saying, I'm a rebel. Wait, so Lucky, is that a rebel like a Confederate flag rebel, or is that a rebel like an X-Wing fighter rebel? Or can you put a flag on an X-Wing? I don't know. Like, I'm proud to be the opposition. Yeah, he's got Rona. I've had doctors because I have to travel a lot, and so I'm subject to, well, it's your job. You have to go here, and they want you to get pinch W. You have to go get pinch W. And I've had a doctor be like, "Yeah, you get it once, and then get it a year later, like a flu shot." He said, "You're gonna get sick." This was my doctor. He's like, "You're gonna get sick." He said, Then he scolded me for like eating garbage, and he's like, "You need to lower your cholesterol." Um, no wind in space. So I know, but he was like, it is tinfoil hat time. But tactical, take this little walk with me. Okay, so the White House, this was 4 days ago, trying to prepare Americans for a distorted job report, right? So ahead of Friday's job, which has already come out, it's lowering expectations about the number hit by the Omicron variant. This month's job report may show losses in large part because workers were out sick from Omicron. They were scaring uh, people into expecting this terrible job report. Well, then people started saying, well, wait a minute. If I have a job and I'm sick, typically you go on sick leave, right? That's the definition. If I'm working and I get sick and fired, then I'm now unemployed. But if I'm like what happened, we got sick and it's like, oh, you have a cootie, stay home for 5 days and call the nurse at the office. Okay. So I worked from home. I wasn't unemployed. So I would not be unemployed, but they're saying, oh, if you didn't go to your office, you are now in an employed job. And that's not right. That's not the definition of unemployment. And you notice they keep avoiding the phrase worker participation rate or job participation rate, which are different numbers. They're playing voodoo here, guys. So, cooties. Um, I know. So, right. So, unemployment is the number of workers of legal age in a country that are eligible to work, are looking for work, but cannot find a job. So, if I'm eligible to work, I'm healthy, I'm looking for work, and I cannot find a job. There is none available for me or my skill set or with the suitable pay for me to make a living, etc. I am unemployed. I am a jobless claim. That's the definition. Now, same guy, right? I'm employable. I am healthy. I can work. I decide, meh, I want to collect checks. I am no longer included by definition, by the government definition. So you have people looking for work and people who are at work. Those are the total numbers for employment, right? And this group here who's looking but can't find, they're unemployed and they're making uh, jobless claims. Now there's a bigger number, which includes everyone who's physically fit, capable, and should be looking for work that just choose not to. Those are not normally, by definition, included in unemployment, but they are included in job. Uh, yeah, it is dehydrated water for all. Right, that's exactly right, Klingon. It is fuzzy math. So what they're doing here, I'm going to bring that article a little bit bigger here so y'all can see it. So the most important thing we know about Friday, without knowing the number yet, of course, is that the survey was taken at the same time as Omicron. Now, if they were saying absentee rate was very high, which screwed up the supply chain, that would be a believable narrative. But that's not what they're doing. They're saying If workers are out sick and don't receive a paycheck for the week in question, they're counted as having lost their job. That is not the correct definition, to my knowledge, of unemployment. You're sick without leave or sick without pay. So they set this narrative up to make us scared, and then people started complaining and going, "Well, wait a minute, that's not true. That's bull." So then here comes Friday, right? Now there was a bunch of blowback from both sides of the aisle, the Democrats, the Republicans, the independents, the businesses. All of a sudden, um, and then here's another article, same thing, right? Here we go. Look, I'll show you. Hold on. Boop. Bam. White House warns latest job data will be ugly. So it went on and on the whole week, and they got so much blowback, right? And then this pops out, and it makes me wonder if these turds realized, oh, wow, nobody's buying. We're trying to scare them and tell them Omicron is destroying the universe, and nobody bought it. Right. And that's my point, Prepper Cowboy, is if you had people going to McDonald's and saying, hey, I want to work, for whatever wage you have so I can, flip burgers, supplement my income, and McDonald's is like, I'm sorry, we don't have the funds to hire you, that person would be an unemployed person by definition. They are looking for work. They're eligible to work. They cannot find work. If they're staying at home playing Xbox and getting drunk or living in mom's or dad's basement. But look at this. Shocks rise after jobs post shocking gain. Everyone was positioning themselves for a hit in the market. Even the White House was saying it's going to look ugly. The White House does not understand the definition of unemployment, which is so these numbers are actually, to be fair to what's going on, these numbers do not include people who had a job but were out sick with the Rona, which is the correct way. They may be absent without pay, but they're still employed. They're just at home. And most companies nowadays do have a work program. I guess if you're working for a small company like a boutique or a private restaurant, you're out for a week, you're not getting paid technically. But it almost sounds like they were trying to puff up the unemployment numbers to scare people. And the blowback was so massive that they couldn't touch it. So they actually tried to tell the truth and said, well, the economy's kind of coming back after all. Hey, Annie Oakley, how are you? Oh man, so guys, this just agitates me. So now I will say one thing that made me happy is that Fake Book took like a 100 billion or $20 billion crap. I don't know how much money they lost, but you look at the market, it's not. It kind of just did market things. Check it out. So the Dow fell 22 points. The S&P went up, the Nasdaq gained a percent. It just business as usual because they didn't do dumb shit. Hey Daryl, how are you? Thanks for joining us today. Ironically, the stock sponsoring the new Grand Theft Auto video game took off. So if you want to invest in a tech stock, I guess you can buy stock in video game companies. Something I wish I had done before the Rona. But I digress. So yeah, so they primed us for this massive jobs hit, and then by their very statements demonstrated, especially Saki, who should know. See, I guess this is what agitates me. I don't expect the spokesperson for the White House to know everything, right? They're just a spokesperson. But if I'm going to talk about jobless, I'm going to go to the accounting or the Congressional Budget Office find the accounting people and go, okay, I'm going to say this. Is that technically correct? Or I would have an accountant on staff saying, hey, you can't say this because that's not unemployment. That's stupid. And if you say it like this, they're going to pounce on you. And they didn't. She just read it and she got pounced on, and all of a sudden the report was completely different. So, wait, what happened? Facebook restricted me from a post from 2019. Oh God, no! I'm the son of a Puerto Rican staff sergeant. I mean, like the stuff that comes out of my mouth is so politically incorrect. Like y'all don't see half the stuff I do. But actually, I should record it because y'all would get an amusement out of it. But then I'd probably get flagged. Um, Unbelievable. So, God, yeah, yeah, old soldiers, especially Spanish, Latinos, they're just so bad. And especially the Korean War vet. Think of a Spanish version of Red Foreman from the '70s show. That was my dad. But he didn't curse as much because he was trying to be good. But he'd watch something on TV and suddenly goes, "Son, you see that? That man is stupid. He's a pendejo. He should go live with Castro." He was still pissed about the Bay of Pigs when he passed away. So, eh, yeah. So let's see. Well, one works for Lucky Dame from her. We will use two for you, Joe. Hold on. So I divorced fake book 9 years ago. Good. Yeah, they took a bath, guys. So, yeah. So it's they primed us to watch the market crater, and then they didn't. So now that the Fed has numbers that apparently someone with a clue has made, now they're like, okay, do we raise interest rates to kind of back off the inflation, which is really all they can do. But hey, Pilgrim is in cold. By the way, guys, do me a favor. I'm just morbidly curious to share with everyone. So I'm in my part of Texas. When I woke up this morning, it was 19 degrees with a wind chill of about 5 to 8. Because people don't realize the western part of Texas is actually 700 feet higher elevation than Denver. The only difference is we're at a southern latitude versus northern. If we were up north, we'd be hella cold, like Butte, Montana, because of our elevation. But we're not. Metaverse is coming. Metaverse lost their butt on the market, man. Um, that made me so happy. Uh, so I'm gonna do another article because they people pick on us for pointing out, you know, we shouldn't screw with nature. I think you're lying about the market, and we get called, we get called jerks, we get called theorists, we get called a bunch of things. Ooh, Tennessee Tactical, and if I'm thinking right in the map, 17F. Oof, that's cold. So this is interesting because a lot of people have been saying uh, in response to, hey, Heirloom, how are you? Beta. They should have called it beta, not meta. But I digress. Um, God, I'm gonna get flagged one day for me and my snarky. That's why I say it sarcastically. It's a little harder for the bots to interpret. Look at that top article there. All the Beijing snow is human-made. A resource-intensive, dangerous trend as the planet warms. Oh, 16 here. 32,000 feet. I mean, 3,200 or 320. 17 degrees here. Okay, so you guys are about as cold as we are. Yeah, it was chilly. It was chilly this morning. Um, so yeah, it would be hard to hold a conversation over the deafening sound of the snow machines preparing the Olympic venues northwest of Beijing. It's almost beautiful, except that the venues are surrounded by an endless brown, dry landscape completely devoid of snow. Why are we holding Winter Olympics in a place that has no snow? To be fair, Russia has snow. Siberia has snow. We could have gone to Sweden or Finland. I'm sure those countries could use the revenue. We went to Beijing. I just, okay, yeah, that's what I thought. That, yeah, because that's slightly higher elevation than us. Below, oof, colder here than in Montana a couple of days ago. 2 days ago, we were colder than Chicago and New York. All that lake effect cold and wind they got out of Canada, and it couldn't touch what we had. Yeah, well, the reason I was, and I didn't mean to pick, I was like 32,000 feet is the cruising altitude of a 737 and or an EC-2 reconnaissance plane, because during Harvey I was actually manning one of the what do you call the streaming platforms, and I was rerouting live video from the flooded areas, and they had an Air Force aircraft, and it was at 32,000. By the way, that the planes, the recon planes, 32,000 feet. They picked out a truck, like a utility truck. The guys came out in the little yellow coveralls, they have the reflective stripes on the shoulders. You could see it from 32,000 feet. That's how accurate the cameras are. Cool runnings, Ma. It's money and power. Why are we sending our people there? I don't. Well, the government has officially boycotted. There's no government. Normally, like they send an ambassador or some senators, like some symbolic people to go, hey, look at that. Putin's there. I would go there to see Putin. Like I'm not per se. I don't think he's a friend of America, but it would be cool to see the guy and be like, ooh, I saw a KGB agent. That would be cool. Um, I think Joe needs his own special set of emojis. Quetzalcoatl, Cthulhu, the Chupacabra, different obscenities, but in emoji form, so he can just start firing them off, but nobody gets kicked off or banned. Move somewhere with the canopy for clip. Interesting, because there's another article, but in any case, yeah, we'll close this one out. The region surrounding the outdoor Olympic venue has been in an extreme drought this winter. It isn't particularly suitable for snow sports. But look at that. Enter the snow machines. Joe wants his own set of emojis. The special Joe Morgan set. Well, I don't know. They put a pregnant male on pinche Apple pendejos. They put the little pregnant guy. We're not seahorses, but anyway, I'll stop now. Hey, Red. So, hey, Red, we could do this in Texas, out by Uvalde. Get snow machines and then watch all the hipsters from Austin go and like fall down Mount Baldy in the state park just to amuse the rest of us. Hey guys, and Pilgrim's been I think Pilgrim started a new job recently too. But yeah, go check out his channel. There are quite a few channel creators on here. Although looking at the video, I think at the chat, I think pretty much everyone here knows each other in one way, shape, or form. Little Boots, if you haven't read it, The Bear and the Dragon. That's an old Clancy, and he gets very technical, very verbose, which is Clancy's style. But it is it's along those lines. Um, I'll just give you the scenario how it starts. And again, it was written back in the early '90s, so it's a bit dated, obviously. Because in the book, Russia's already a republic, right? It's got an elected president. Um, but the premise was the atrocities, the genocide occurring in China against the Uyghurs, or those minorities, results in them simultaneously blowing up all the Chinese refineries. China panics and decides, where do we get oil without getting into a shooting match? Taiwan really strategically has no oil. Japan doesn't. Indonesia's too far, so they turn north and attack Siberia. And I won't say any more, but that becomes a really quick shit show in the book. So you guys want to read that? Cancel the emoji. Yeah, but you know what, man? At Pilgrim, it's we got to take care. You got to pay the bills, man. And I don't think the prepper community as a whole, nobody judged poorly. I mean, everyone. I think Lucky said she's at work too. I'm on call, but I can play dead for an hour and go live, hour and a half. It is called The Bear and the Dragon. Hold on, I'm actually going to get it for you. There it is. All right. There's some books I'll share and some I keep because they're interesting. Oh, sorry. That's it. Tom Clancy, The Bear and the Dragon. And the premise is super interesting. It is not a small book. And somebody I think put in there that it was really small. It's like you're reading the Magna Carta. Uh, but who remembers book? Down, I'll tell you what. I got books all up and down there. I have my own little library, and it's funny because when my daughter was a teenager, couple of her little friends came over, and absolutely, he had a unique understanding of. He could kind of see how the pieces could fall. He didn't know for sure, but yeah, he's absolutely was Tennessee. He could see the way things would fall a certain way, and he could say, okay, if it goes this way, this is what's going to develop. Yes, it is a Shogun size book, definitely. Um, but it is a Joe. I got her hangry. Well, before I came on the live, I actually made breakfast. At least that way. Okay, I used to play Rainbow Six with my kids on the old PlayStation. Now now that they're young adults, we play the Division on the PS4s because my sons are military, my daughter lives on her own, so like all the kids are separated. We started playing it, and then the Rona hit, and I'm like, well, why the hell do I want to play this video game that's basically the Rona with a different name? If you have not seen the video for the Division, there's actually a live actor version of the Division. Uh, it's a 30-minute, like it was a spiel for the video game kickoff, and it's interesting for sure. But yeah, they're making fake snow over in in um in China. But that's not going to be bad for anybody. Where does the snow go? That is the truth. What everyone had an MP5, USP tactical. Yeah, they call it, what did they call it in the game and in the storyline? It's the green flu, the green plague. Uh, Hold on just a second here, guys. I'm having a bit of a camera issue here. There we go. The division is the Rona. This is true, and I have Florstein's. How do you say that? Florstein's. Hold on. I had to switch cameras here right in the middle of a video because the other one got angry and literally fell over, like it just passed out. Like, when the drunk you're sitting with your friend and they just go clunk and like the upper third of their body goes sideways and you have to take them home. That's what the camera did. Uh, I'm telling you, that's the truth, y'all. Uh, they do have fake snow. So speaking of fake, and I love this one. This is great. So drama reigns as maskless Oakdale students protest the mandate. So the students, both vaxxed and unvaxxed, got angry because they kept putting the mandates in place. It was a drunk camera. Well, so somebody who is a very big conspiracy theorist in my circle said somebody gave the idea to the video game guy to warn us. He said in his opinion, some of these like kind of pre-science video games, the ones that they come out and then like 3 years later, you're like, remember that game? Look at the news. It's there now. Yes, absolutely. And so the students got agitated, so they went through the school district refusing to wear their masks. So now they're being put in alternative learning facilities. So now the parents are just pulling them because students who show up to school maskless are offered one at the office, and upon refusal, a face shield is suggested. We go through different alternatives. If the student refuses, we give them a different setting. Klein said students at elementary schools are being placed in cafeterias. Okay, I've seen one video on another platform, TikTok. I think it was TikTok or maybe Instagram, that they had put junior high kids on the curb with no teacher, no supervision. It wasn't like, oh, go sit in the playground where at least the coach can watch you out the window. No. And so one of the kids texted the parent. The parent left work and came there. So the dad had a folding chair and he's sitting there with the kids. And somebody's recording it. And then they said, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "Oh," he goes, I'm her dad. And they basically put my daughter out in the street so she can get kidnapped. And I'm waiting for someone from the school to come out because I have things to say. But I'm not going to go in there and get arrested. I'm going to let them come to the street. But there were 12 kids, about 13 years old, boys and girls, sitting. So, yeah, these kids, there's been reports that there's about 200 students at Oakdale High that are refusing masks. They're segregating all the kids who are protesting. Again, that use of words, mercenaries, terrorists, segregating. They're normalizing this in day-to-day business, in day-to-day conduct. Okay, this is segregation backwards. Oh, you're compliant, you get to be included. Oh, you're not compliant, you're a shit. You go over there, pendejo, and they run you off. So let's see what this kid says. I think I can get this working. Hold on a second here. If it works, maybe not. It has no audio. Hold on. Can y'all hear that? But they're 6 feet apart, just in case you're wondering. Unbelievable. So that's not going very well either. So let's see. Like I said, it's been okay. No, it was actually they weren't saying anything. You heard a kid saying, "This really sucks," and then all you hear in the background is the kids going. It sounds like Charlie Brown's teacher. So, um, how how, how weird is that, right? So let's see. Let's see where the government failures have occurred. They told us there was going to be Uh, they were going to mandate and arrest truckers. Now the truckers have taken over Ottawa, and then their buddies in 4 different countries in Europe are doing the same now and freaking out the Europeans. Um, they they tried to install mass mandates for the high school kids who are now protesting and banishing themselves to the gym and cafeteria. The Yeah, basically a little leper colony. That's a really good way to put it. Um, yeah, the shorter list is successes. Um, and again, that goes down to what I said before. They prepped us. Oh, it's going to be a bad report, and I bet you they were trying to get the congressional budgeting office and the accounting divisions to go. I need you to show job loss because of the Rona, and we will get compliance. We will scare them. And they were like, you can't call these people. They're on sick leave. That's not unemployment. Well, they're not getting paid. They can do that. They still have a job to come back to. If they got fired, then they're unemployed. And so all of a sudden, after a week of saying, bam, the market wasn't terrible and it didn't do anything. It went up and down a little bit, and that was it. It is. Yeah. Yeah. So we can, oh, that's a good way. You know, Daryl, it's funny. A few years ago, someone told me that, and I'm like, man, I don't see all of that yet. But when you start putting it all together right now, today, it's kind of making you go, hmm, that's not right. That's messed up. And what's funny, all the Abrahamic faiths, Christianity, Islam, Judaism, all say the same things. And I guess from their common roots, but um, that there are certain things have to happen before other things occur. So, um, well, I'll tell you what, Puddle, the kids who are in the gym, they can walk away saying, "I stood for my rights. I'm compliant." Suicides right now are through the roof. And as I said, I have my son's in technically a law enforcement person, and he told me, he said during everything being locked down, the suicides were through the roof. The domestics, he's like, Dad, it was to the point we couldn't answer calls fast enough. And so I'm more worried about the kids who are compliant and just getting pecked down because they don't have family who are like, you know what, this isn't. Uh, so somebody I know decided to wear a MOP level gas. So MOPP is the MOP levels 1 through 4 for biological warfare. Um, Back in the day was the big army mask with the hood and the little tube so you can drink, and it's this big cloak. You look like death, but in camouflage. And he wore that to a Walmart, and he said the reactions were kind of both. Like some people were like, and they freaked, but then others, hey, heroic, what's going on? But then other people were like, dude, can I take a selfie with you? And then he became in his town, he became like plague mask coach or something like that. I don't know what the hell they called him, but he said the reactions went to extremes. It wasn't like people looking at, oh, another weirdo at Walmart, which is what I probably would have done. Like, oh, look, people being stupid in Walmart. Imagine that. No, he had teenagers who were like, can I take a picture with you? And he's like, yeah, sure. So he'd like get in the middle and all the kids would be like, take a selfie. Um, I just thought it was funny. But yeah, the kids who were wearing masks, this is, and oh, John Hopkins just released a report stating that hold on, let me see if I can find it because I don't want to misquote it. Hopkins shutdown study. Let me see. All right, here it is. I found it. Bam, came right up. So it has no audio, or I'm not going to mess with the video. I've had issues with this particular page before. John Hopkins study shows lockdowns only reduced the death rate by 0.2%. Well, because that's actually would protect you from stuff. Um, well, what's funny, Hopkins actually is admitting, yeah, they've really not 2%, guys, 0.2. It says while the meta-analysis concludes that lockdowns have had little to no public health effect, which I don't agree with, they have oh no, had little to no public health effects like benefits, they have imposed enormous economic and social costs where they have been adopted, wrote the independent researcher. In consequence, lockdown policies are ill-founded and should be rejected as a pandemic policy instrument for cases like this. That's from the guys who were the first university to track this stuff. They actually said, we find little to no evidence that mandated lockdowns in Europe and the US had a noticeable effect on Rona 19 mortality rates. No, they didn't say they disagreed with the meds or some other mitigation. But yeah, and this is from John Hopkins, so I may get flagged for this, but this is a legit news agency, and that's a legit known university, and that's what they're saying. So, to the YouTube bots, I am regurgitating that which the university said. Um, and if you don't like it, pal carajo. Anyway, I really need to make a translator, like different Puerto Rican insults, because they're a little different than Mexican insults. I've had to learn both living in Texas, so sometimes I say the wrong thing, but they may be. Well, keep in mind it may be different professors or scientists in the university because I've dealt with the university research groups when I was in undergrad, and like you get these little entities. So you could have like a medical department, and they have 8 different groups working on one thing, but from different aspects. So these guys may have totally just thrown another group under the bus. They're like, yeah, these guys over here, they're idiots. Send us the funding. So yeah, but I agree. I know they do. They may be. They may be. And yeah. Now you could improvise it, but yeah, that's of course trying to find that in good condition, like not like ancient from Vietnam that doesn't work anymore, but like in good condition. So yeah, this is again now the university that was tasked with tracking the Rona, and they were tracking the cootie, are now saying, hey, you know what? The vaccines are a separate issue, but all the lockdowns, you really screwed up the world, and it really didn't help anyone. It caused a problem. By the way, there is a movie, now that I saw that came out, and it stars the lady from the first Jurassic Park, the blonde lady who was with the professor and the kids. She's the lead actress. I can't remember her name. It is called, I think it was on Amazon or Netflix. It's one of those independent movies. It's called Bird Flu. It was based like a bird flu. It came out 3 years before Contagion. Contagion used that storyline. They just had Matt Damon and Gwyneth Paltrow to make it puffy. they regurgitated this movie. It's kind of like The Walking Dead in 28 Days Later. 28 Days Later was an independent movie. The guy wakes up in a hospital, but it came out 6 years before The Walking Dead. And The Walking Dead, Rick Grimes shows up in the hospital, wakes up, and it's, zombies. It was like that. It was Contagion, but this other movie came out before. And in the movie, the CDC director tells the lead researcher, their heroine, if you will, I don't think locking down society will help. We'll close the schools, but we can't lock the schools. Shut down the stores. People need their food. There's really no, like, they're basically saying do the opposite of what we did for the Rona in the movie. And now the university's saying it. So list of failures this week increases, right? So the job market did not crater because the narrative fell apart. The university is saying the lockdowns did nothing. Yes, Carriers was a good one. That's the one with Chris Pine. That is a good one. I thought 28 Days Later was more realistic than I Am Legend, because they were like freaked out humans, like rabies people, which made more sense to me than, oh, I've gotten an infection, now I'm superhuman and I can run up a wall like a spider. That Bye, little boots. Take care. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So World War Z is a good one. So I'll try and find that movie. I'll put that in my community page as well. God, I can't remember what it's called, and it's the lady who it's gonna bug me. But before I leave, speaking of World War Z tactical, I have not seen that yet. I'm gonna have to watch that. I'm here, but not at work. Yeah, Lucky's. Ooh, that's a good question. Lucky's still at work. Yeah, don't get in trouble at work, Lucky. I don't know. You wanna do a real time lookup? I wanted to beat up on the stupid government, but we can go beat up on infectious monkeys. Let's see. What was it? Monkey, Pennsylvania. Escape. Okay, let's see. All loose monkeys accounted for. By the way, in uh, New Iberia, Louisiana, LSU has an infectious monkey research facility where the cages are outdoors. LSU is also where that professor who allegedly sent anthrax to a congressman worked. And you remember that case suddenly went bring, and he claims he was trying to show the failures of government. But now they're saying, oh, wow, that's okay. I got to open both of these guys because when I pulled this up, okay, so let's go to the first one if I can get it to work. Okay, so this is the Philly Voice. This is out of Philadelphia. Let's see. Bing. Woman falls ill after exposure to monkeys at Pennsylvania crash site. Okay, and look at that. Dude, that's an ugly ass monkey. She was exposed to the animal's feces while hoping to clear crates from the roadway. I don't know, y'all. Look, if I see someone has an accident and like their puppies are in the road, I'll go help you with puppies. You got monkeys and monkey shit. I'm not touching that. No, you can have that this the little cacas. You can take those things. I don't want that at all. Multiple long-tailed macaque monkeys escaped from a truck that crashed Friday in Danville. The woman who offered assistance at the scene of a truck crash involving captive lab monkeys in rural Pennsylvania says she has fallen ill after being exposed to feces and saliva. Ugh. Why would you? Ugh. I'm here finishing breakfast. Oh, that actually sounds good. That's kind of I just thought about 12. Oh God. Isn't that the one where Brad Pitt plays the really nuts guy and he keeps going like this? He does this really animated and he goes from this long-haired psycho to a suit and tie. Um, by the way, that was one of my favorite Brad Pitt. Oh no, no, wait. It gets man, people do care about you, brother. Believe it or not, they do. Oh God, I saw that. For the record, I'm not being racist. Tennessee actually said that um, about touching monkeys and having. I do disagree about the pet tigers, okay? Because Tony Montana had a pet tiger, and he was technically supposed to be Cuban, but I don't know. Most don't help the monkeys. Yeah, don't touch the monkeys. No tocas. Okay, you see monkeys up and down the street? No, there's just no. Deja los monos. Do not touch. Okay, and for those of you who are Spanish impaired, deja los monos. Do not touch the monkeys. So did the Tiger King. No, they are not good pets. If you want an epic cat that you can keep in the house, look at Savannah cats. Those are cool. But anyway, so that's the first article. But then look at this next one. Hold on, I'm going to flip screens here. Bam. Woman who encountered escaped monkeys, now not sick. See, here they put this cute little guy, right? Oh, the cute little monkey. But in reality, it was this ugly pendejo was in the tree. And this is what she was meant. No, I might pick up these little guys. Oh, look at their little face, right? With the little Hello Kitty toy, right? Cloned monkeys. Oh no, that's not gonna. Okay, see, it's all fun and games until one of them decides his name is Caesar and burns down your city. Don't clone monkeys. That's just don't do it. I'll stick with my Siamese. Joe. Oh shoot, there we go. There you go. Or get thrown out of a bar. I speak enough Cajun French to get thrown out of bars in Louisiana. Although now most of the bartenders know me from my various business trips. So anyway, yeah. So don't play with monkeys. Like you pull over, check on the driver, and go like, bro, you have monkeys running around. I want no monkeys. This is a perfect time to use the phrase, not my circus, not my monkeys. No. Are you okay, dude? Here's a first aid kit. Buy now. And buy a new first aid kit. Don't even want it back. Like, no, you're contaminant. Bye. Uh anyway, this one this one's the last one I'm gonna throw up here, but this one pay attention to. So we've seen a lot of things go in the direction. I want a pet mountain lion. I don't. Unless you have like a facility, then it's cool. Klingon. Of course they were. You know why half of these blockheads playing with genetics, there's a bunch of geeks and they're going tick 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 with genetic material, creating illnesses, and then something like this happens, they don't know what's going to happen. They probably literally were like, we need to watch the whole town because we don't know how it's going to spread. For all we know, Puddle, a week from now, I could be going on the news saying, oh, guess what? Humans have rabies and they're biting each other. We have zombies now. I want a pet mountain lion. Okay, I have to agree with Tennessee here because the poop. I've been because I've seen. No, there. I want a little one. Yeah, I wouldn't want to clean the litter box for a cat that big. That's shovel size. It's not that little stupid scoop you get for the litter box and PetSmart, right? You're gonna need a damn snow shovel for the cacas that thing leaves. No, you can have that. Um, I'm going to share one last one. This one, though, they're not good pets, no. Although I have seen them rescued. And, but that's a different scenario, right? I want to play this for you guys. Let me know if you can hear the audio because I really want you to hear this one because I'm not liking this. Because I think this will affect preparedness for a lot of us. I don't think it's going to go anywhere.
New York City's new mayor, Eric Adams, and Governor Kathy Hochul to outline possible
Can you hear
solutions to the surging crime problem here. But defunding the police, not on the table. Listen.
The answer is not to abandon our streets. That's not the answer. We're not about defunding. We're about funding and providing the additional services you need beyond someone with a gun strapped to the shoulder.
And it turned out to be a lot about guns. Our panel joins us right now. Marisol Sanchez lost her son JJ to a shooting in New York last summer. Retired Sergeant Betsy Brotner Smith is the spokeswoman for the National Police Association. And pollster Lee Carter is the president of Meslansky and Partners. Good morning to all of you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Sergeant, let's start with you. Even though the president was in New York City, you know, this would have been his opportunity to reset his crime agenda. You're in law enforcement. Is that what law enforcement wanted to hear yesterday, what Joe Biden had to say?
No, it's not what law enforcement wanted to hear. He talked very briefly about Officers Rivera and Mora and their sacrifice. And then he immediately went into talking about guns, guns, guns. We got to stop talking about guns and talk about criminality. He didn't talk about Charles Galloway, the corporal murdered in Texas by an illegal alien who moved back and forth across our southern border for decades. He didn't talk about Sergeant Britt Manick in Illinois, who was murdered with her own gun. We need to talk about the lack of prosecution. We need to talk about criminals getting out on no bail or low bail and running our streets. It's time to talk criminality and stop with the old tired talking points of background checks and ghost guns and all the things he talked about yesterday. We've got to get serious about not just saving cops, but saving our citizens from violent crime.
And speaking of crime, we've got a graphic that shows that here in New York City, Grand Theft Auto is nearly up 100%. Transit crimes on the subways and buses up 70, grand larceny up about 60%, robbery up 33%, and shooting incidents up 32%. Marisol, you lost your son, JJ, last year. You've been on this program and you've told us about what happened, and it's just terrible. I'm sure you have played through your head a million times. What if something would have happened that would have prevented my son from being in the wrong place at the wrong time with that guy with the other gun that killed him? What did Joe Biden need to say yesterday? And you're disappointed he did not.
It's like what the previous person just said. He was just talking about guns, guns, guns. There's really no resolution. We need help in these communities. We need support in these communities. We need more officers out here tackling all types of criminality. It's so many different people being affected by what's going on at the moment that, you know, is disturbing, it's hurting. And again, we need more policing in these streets. We need officers to be out here. Right now, you know, you walking around, and I've literally seen people walking around with guns. And it's like a new norm right now, and it's scary.
You're absolutely
you
right.
don't know what to expect. You can just walk to your car, you could walk to the store, you can just be taking a brief walk because you want to be outside, and something can happen to you. It's so many issues going on right now. And, you know, it's not just about guns, but we need officers out here. Like, you know, I don't believe in defunding the police. I think that they should be out here supporting us.
Yeah.
We need it. We need them to engage with the communities. We need a lot of support right now.
Right.
And I didn't hear none of that.
Yeah. Lee, we've just heard from law enforcement. We've heard from a victim's family. I got a feeling that the great crime reset did not happen yesterday when it comes to a messaging point of view for the president.
Yeah, there's no question about it. I mean, 5 in 6 Americans feel worse off right now
he only has a 24% approval rate when it comes to people's opinion on crime. He's got a 69% disapproval rate when it comes to gun violence. Nothing that he said yesterday was new. There's nothing that he told us about guns, about the way he's going to treat police, about the way he's going to deal with any of the issues that are making people feel unsafe that has changed anything. There was no big reset. This was a speech. It was very much the right place at the right time with the wrong tone and the wrong message. I don't think this is going to change anyone's mind. And I think people are really looking for leadership right now that's going to make them feel safer in their cities, in their homes. And this certainly didn't do it.
Well, unfortunately, your opinion is shared by many. A great panel discussion today. Thank you very much, Sergeant Betsy Bratner Smith, Marissa, and Lee Carter. We thank you very much.
Thank you.
Marisol Sanchez, I should have said.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hold on, let me move that off. So yeah, I think the mom was to the point she's kind of, yeah, and I'm assuming you mean Potato, not Joe Morgan, because Joe's not president. Although if Joe was president, there would be emojis. Or Joe, not that Joe. Yeah, and that's sad. You can tell that mom, and I don't know when she lost her son. I need to look into that, but they're hey, Off the Wall, how are you? Now, what the mom did say was that she wants to see more engagement. And I actually have folks in that have engaged me that were actually part of BLM, the Black Lives Matter movement. And I said, okay, so you say defund the police, but you say we need to enforce laws. What would you do? Like I asked them very genuinely, and they said, what we'd like to do. Okay, she lost him last year. So, well, the chat just zoomed by real quick. Thank you, Off the Wall. And definitely check Off the Wall's channel, guys. But she's basically this person from who used to be part of Black Lives Matter, or now, and she's now disassociated with the group after the leader walked off with millions of dollars. And she's like, y'all, but didn't help the families of the very people they were protesting about. She's like, I'm done with this organization. She's doing other things in the community. But she said, we need to come back to community policing. She said, it would be great if I went to the store and saw a cop and I knew that cop's name. It's Officer, Jones. And we could go and talk to Officer Jones. And me growing up when I did, we actually had this skinny Italian guy whose dad served when my dad did. So the dads knew each other. And he was older than me, maybe mid-20s when I was a teenager. And he was a cop. God, what was his name? He had some crazy Italian name, like David Anthony Manicotti or something like that. And we used to call him Officer Dave. He's a big old skinny kid. I mean, he must have been like 6'2". When I say he's big, he was this big, tall string bean. And he'd be at the pizza place we all hung out at. It was right across from the high school. It was one of those places you paid $3 at the time, and you got like a slice of pizza and a Coke. And he'd sit there, hey, what you guys doing? Are you cutting school? Dude, go back to school. He would literally tell, dude, go back to school if the kid was cutting. But the kids knew him. And every now and then I'd see him grab a kid and take him outside. One girl came in, she was torn up a bit. And it turned out it was the boyfriend smacked her around. And he's like, you come over here. And he took her out. He's like, hey, what happened? Do you want to talk about it? And this BLM activist said, that's what we need. She said, we don't need the police to go away. But they don't need Humvees rolling through my neighborhood. I want to see them. I want them to talk to us, come to our church. Yes, exactly. So, Officer Mario, he had the Mario mustache, though. Like literally Mario and Luigi mustache. He looked more like Luigi, though. Yes. And so that's the other thing. When you go to smaller cities, like the one I'm living in now, most of the cops live in this area, right? So you have a few from like a town over, but it's really not that far. So this is their home too. Whereas you get a place like New York City and you get a guy who lives in Jersey who's patrolling the Bronx, he doesn't know the people there. He doesn't care. It's a paycheck. Not that he doesn't care. I'm kind of knocking the cop unfairly, but it's not home. Houston started going to that. So Houston, believe it or not, has a very big Vietnamese community from after the Vietnam War. Well, they've recruited officers and they've partnered some local homegrown guys who come from those very families, Vietnamese descendant, if you will, with an American cop. So the community sees, John and their local kid, the kid who went to their high school, with his partner. Now they know them both. And that's another approach out here. Even the sheriffs have said, look, we got limited resources. We can only get there so fast. We're going to get there in response to something that has happened and been reported. Yeah, they do. And I was impressed with the way this activist laid it out. She said, we need law enforcement. She said, when we don't have cops, she said, communities with money can afford the private security and shut themselves in if they need to. She said it's the working class, the poor, the minority, they're the ones who are going to suffer the most. And that's part of the reason this individual diverged from that organization. So, and I got to tell you, it was enlightening to have that conversation. So, no, and that's good. I'm glad that they talked to the folks. Yeah, doing my job. No, and you know what? Most of these people know that, right? But again, as you guys have pointed out, it's very different in, say, a city under 500,000 than you go to Houston, Chicago, Dallas, New York, LA. That's a completely different dynamic between law enforcement and the community as a whole. And I think being able to have that interaction will, and I think that's where that mom was going, was she wanted to, she feels, and she's about my age group, if you will. So she's probably thinking, I remember growing up where the local cop was from Cuba or Puerto Rico also, and his dad knew my dad, and if I had problems, we could call him and find him at the pizza place or at the basketball court talking to the kids, and the kids knew him. And I think that speaks volumes to where they want to go. So, and that's not a bad idea, folks. And personally, to Tactical Homestead's point, a cop who knows his community is less likely to oppress them. I mean, you're going to get stupid cops, right? But if I'm patrolling a neighborhood and my cousin or my sister lives in that community, I'm not going to go and enforce an unjust law or be cruel to people, right? There's going to be a very different approach for me than for some schmuck who lives somewhere else. So just something to think about. That's yeah, see, then that it becomes a question of, now some counties and some states have required, I think Houston does it, if you're a police officer, you have to live in the city or within what they call like the metro area. It's like, within, so it could be Harris County or like Montgomery, the surrounding counties. You can't be from more than 30 minutes from your station or so. I don't remember how it worked. But hey, farmer son. Red, take care, man. You have a blessed day, brother. And but folks, accident scene the other night. Our sheriff was there. A group before the state board got. Yeah. So we have some guys who've moved here who were from other areas, and and some of them are ex-military, right? So these guys are very tactically trained, but they're not trained for community enforcement. they both counties, because you got like a couple of little cities, both counties require each department to have 2 community officers who go to all the events, all the schools, etc. And when a new officer arrives, they have to ride with a community officer for the first 2 months after they qualify, so that the community officer can say, okay, this is the Latino area, and this is where the ranchers are, and this is private property, and this guy gives you free coffee, and stuff like that. But yeah, so that they can be part of that community. So take care, Red. All right. And well, again, it goes to the structure of the law enforcement. But guys, other than that, and I don't think Mr. Potatoes, his concept, none of his stuff's going to take off. I really don't think so. But been a lot of the things they have tried to do have failed epically, and blatantly, and to the point where even, like I said, John Hopkins is saying, you know what, the all that shutdown stuff didn't do anything. Other things excluded, it saved nothing. It did nothing other than cause economic chaos and ruin the supply chain. Good job. So interesting. And the job report was the exact opposite. They were trying to create this narrative and it fell apart. And I'm happy to see that reality, at least this last week, reality has kind of taken a bit of a foothold in some of this nonsense. So yeah, and if they're not from the community, it will make stuff worse, right? But if the guy who's drunk on the corner and being belligerent knows the cop and they know each other's family, is like, dude, let me take you home to your wife. That conversation is going to be very different than a guy who shows up, doesn't know anyone at the area, and pulls a taser the minute he gets out of his car because he doesn't know anyone. I think knowing the community protects the officer and it protects the community. But yeah, it will escalate if you're not careful. But folks, I'm going to wrap that up. But I wanted to give you some good news today because it looks like a lot of things have gone in a positive direction. And even the university stating that, hey, you know what? We did not accomplish much doing what we've done for the last 2 years. We've harmed society. That's going to have weight. Now, whether that story is going to go away, I don't know. But they're going to talk rhetoric. They're going to try and make a 2A law. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I don't think anything's going anywhere until November. And I'm waiting to see how November pans out. And yes, Trunk Otis. Right. Wash your hands, hygiene, don't lick doorknobs. I've literally seen someone's kid licking a doorknob. I was like, your kid is a cootie now. Just go and spray Lysol on the child. Just take her away. But that child will never get sick, right? Because they just ingested like 50 different viruses. And yeah, if I find any footage on the European trucker convoys, I will let you know. But I hear they locked several cities. And then the French couldn't get the truckers because there was some kind of like legal restriction where the trucks couldn't go into the city. So the farmers brought 12,000 tractors and roadblocked a community outside of Paris before the cops actually shut the bridge. So if I get this stuff, I'll share it. I'll try and put a video or something, but it's pretty fun. So yeah, people talking back, people standing up, even the high school kids, you saw it earlier. So this is good stuff, guys. I mean, if it's not working, you have to stop using whatever it is you're doing, right? And it's not working. So we need to go another direction. Well, right now, oh, for Christ's sake, France can't even fix their own traffic problems. They're the least of the worries. I think their president's related to Sparkle Socks up in Canada. So Northern Girl gave me that name, by the way, Sparkle Socks. She told me that's what he should be called. So we will honor Northern Girl's name for the president up there. Patty Bob has been posting from Germany. Okay, I'll go check him out and see. But guys, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm going to call it. But you guys be safe out there. Be ready. Pay attention and look. If it's not working, they need to stop the nonsense. And some of this isn't working, and it's getting stopped. So if it's not working, they need to cut it out. And yeah, go look up some of these links and do some reading. It's really interesting, especially that report from Johns Hopkins. That kind of punched holes into everything that was done since 2020. I mean, it punched some holes in it. So, yes, Northern Girl Hobbies. So, oh, is she in there? Oh, no, she's not in there. I thought she popped in on me. All right. Well, y'all be safe, be careful, pay attention to what you're doing, and help each other out, collaborate. All right. We trade all sorts of good information out here in the community on YouTube and the other venues, TikTok, Instagram, wherever you are. Use those, trade notes, learn. Be good, be safe, and I'm going to refill my coffee. Take care, guys.